Have you ever sat at the dinner table, looking at your grown children, and felt that the way they speak to you now is somehow different? It's not that they don't love you, you know they do, but maybe you've noticed a certain tone, a quick dismissal of your ideas, or that subtle way they check their phones while you're talking. It's as if, somewhere along the way, the balance shifted, and the respect you once commanded without question is a little harder to come by. If you felt this, please know you're not alone, and more importantly, it's not too late to turn it around. Respect isn't just about age, position, or being the parent. It's about how we connect with people emotionally, how we make them feel, and how we carry ourselves in those everyday moments. The beautiful thing is, you don't need to lecture, demand, or prove yourself. Sometimes, the smallest, simplest phrases, said with sincerity, can completely change the way your children see and treat you. And when we're over 60, our words carry a unique weight. We've lived through decades of experiences, mistakes, triumphs, and lessons. That wisdom can shine through in the way we speak, and it can rekindle not just respect, but closeness. One of the most powerful phrases you can use, though it might feel unexpected, is, "I was wrong." I can almost hear some of you thinking, wait, why would admitting I was wrong make my children respect me more? Won't that make me seem weaker? In reality, it's the opposite. Think about it, all their lives, you were the one teaching them, guiding them, showing them right from wrong. When you openly acknowledge a mistake, whether it's something from years ago or something you said just last week, you're showing them that growth never stops. You're modeling humility, and humility is a rare strength. It tells them, I'm confident enough to own my errors, and I care enough to make things right. That's the kind of behavior that earns deep, lasting respect, no matter your age. I once knew a gentleman named Robert who, in his late 70s, sat down with his adult daughter and told her he was sorry for pushing her into a career path she never loved. She told me later that in that single conversation, she felt more seen and respected than in decades before. It wasn't about the past being fixed, it was about feeling her father's openness and humanity in that moment. And in turn, her respect for him grew. Another surprisingly powerful phrase is, I trust your judgment. As parents, it's natural to want to offer advice, especially when we see our children making decisions that make us nervous. But as they grow older, they're seeking something from us that can sometimes be more important than guidance, validation. When you say, I trust your judgment, you're sending a profound message. You're telling them, I believe in you. I see you as capable. I respect the person you've become. This isn't just about boosting their confidence, it shifts the dynamic between you. Instead of feeling like they have to defend their choices, they begin to see you as an ally, someone who's on their side. I remember a conversation with my own friend Linda, whose son was debating whether to buy a small fixer-upper or rent a nice apartment. Instead of listing all the pros and cons, something she admitted she was itching to do, she simply said, I trust your judgment. I know you'll make the right choice for your life. She told me later that not only did her son beam with pride, but he also came back to her later for her thoughts, this time, genuinely wanting her input. Sometimes, giving respect first is what brings it back to us. The third phrase I'd like to share in this part is one that might seem almost too simple, but it can transform the atmosphere of your relationship. Tell me more. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you without interrupting, without rushing, without jumping in to fix your problem. It feels rare, doesn't it? In our fast, noisy world, real listening has become a gift. When you say tell me more to your children, whether they're sharing something exciting, something troubling, or even something you don't fully agree with, you're doing something magical. You're telling them, your thoughts matter to me. I value your mind. I'm not here to control this conversation, I'm here to understand you. Listening is one of the purest forms of respect. And when we give it, we often receive it in return. I once heard a story about a grandmother who had very different political views from her grandson. They used to clash every time the topic came up. But one day, instead of debating, she simply said, tell me more about why you feel that way. She told me later she learned things about his life and perspective she'd never known, and, perhaps more importantly, he started asking her to share her own stories, with the same curiosity. That's respect being built in real time. The truth is, respect from our children after 60 isn't something we can demand, it's something we invite. And we invite it through our words, our tone, and our willingness to meet them not just as our kids, but as adults with their own minds, hearts, and experiences. Phrases like "I was wrong," "I trust your judgment," and "tell me more" are bridges, small in size, but strong enough to carry years of distance back to closeness. And once you start to see the shift, the way their eyes soften when they look at you, the way they linger a little longer in conversation, the way they start to seek your presence rather than avoid your advice, you'll realize that these are more than just words. They're a way of showing that respect flows both ways. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. Sometimes, respect grows in the quietest moments, in the way we acknowledge and affirm the people we love. One phrase that works wonders, especially when our children are facing challenges, is, "I'm proud of you." You might be thinking, well, of course my kids know I'm proud of them. But here's the truth, knowing it and hearing it are two very different things. We all carry an inner child inside us, and even grown adults crave the comfort of hearing their parents' pride. The power of this phrase is in its timing. It's easy to say "I'm proud of you" when they land a promotion, buy a new house, or achieve something impressive. But the real magic happens when you say it at unexpected times, like when they've handled a difficult situation with grace, when they've been kind to someone, or even when they've made a tough decision to walk away from something that wasn't right for them. I once heard from a man named Carl, whose daughter was going through a divorce. She felt like a failure and kept apologizing for letting everyone down. One day, Carl looked her in the eye and said, "I'm proud of you for having the courage to start over." She told him years later that those words gave her the strength to rebuild her life. Sometimes, our children respect us most when they see that our pride isn't conditional, that it's not just about their successes, but about who they are as people. Another phrase that can transform the way your children relate to you is, "What do you think?" You might be surprised by how rarely parents ask their adult children for their opinion in a way that truly values it. Often, we offer our perspective first and then wait for their reaction. But when you start by asking for their thoughts, on anything from world events to family matters to a new recipe you're trying, you send a powerful signal. You're telling them, "I value your mind. I respect your wisdom, too." There's a beautiful shift that happens here. When your children realize that you see them as capable thinkers, they often begin to see you as someone they can have rich, two-way conversations with. It stops being parent teaching child and becomes two adults learning from each other. A friend of mine, Evelyn, told me she started asking her son for advice on gardening, something she'd been doing for decades. At first, he was surprised, but soon, he started calling her to exchange tips and share photos of his plants. That simple question, "What do you think?" opened a door to mutual respect that hadn't been there before. The next phrase might feel a little vulnerable, but it carries incredible power. "I need your help." For many of us, especially those of us who have spent a lifetime caring for others, asking for help can feel uncomfortable. We're so used to being the strong one, the problem solver, the one everyone turns to. But something beautiful happens when you allow your children to step into that role. When you say, "I need your help," you're not just making a request, you're giving them an opportunity to show up for you. You're letting them know that their presence, skills, or knowledge matter to you. And here's the fascinating part, people tend to respect those who respect themselves enough to ask for what they need. Far from making you seem weak, this shows strength and self-awareness. I know a woman named Teresa who used to hesitate to ask her daughter for help with technology. She'd spend hours struggling on her own, feeling frustrated. One day, she simply said, "I need your help setting up my phone. I know you're great with this stuff." Not only did her daughter gladly help, but she also started checking in regularly to see if Teresa needed anything else. That moment of openness shifted their dynamic. It reminded her daughter that their relationship could be a partnership, not just a one-way street. These phrases work because they tap into something deeper than politeness. They're about connection. They take us out of the habit of speaking from a place of authority and move us into a space of shared humanity. When we say, "I'm proud of you, what do you think?" and "I need your help," we're breaking down walls and building bridges at the same time. And the best part? They don't require dramatic speeches or big life changes. They slip naturally into everyday conversations, over a cup of tea, while folding laundry, or during a quick phone call. They're not just words, they're seeds. Plant them often enough, and you'll start to notice respect growing in places where it once felt thin. One of the most overlooked but deeply meaningful phrases you can share with your children is, "I understand." Not "I understand," but, and not "I understand how you feel because I went through something worse." Just, "I understand." It's amazing how often we underestimate the power of simple empathy. When you offer understanding without immediately following it with advice, you create a safe space where your children feel seen rather than judged. I remember a conversation between a father and his adult son who was struggling with work stress. The father's instinct was to give a list of solutions, but instead, he said, "I understand how much pressure you're under right now." His son paused, looked at him, and said, "Thanks, Dad. That means a lot." It wasn't the advice that mattered in that moment, it was the validation. Understanding doesn't mean you agree with everything, it means you care enough to stand with them where they are before trying to lead them somewhere else. And then there's a phrase that may be the hardest for some of us, yet it holds the potential to heal old wounds and strengthen bonds. "I'm sorry." Not a rushed, half-hearted "sorry you feel that way," but a genuine, thoughtful apology when it's needed. Saying "I'm sorry" as a parent can feel tricky. After all, we often think we have to always be the steady, right one. But a sincere apology doesn't lower you in your children's eyes, it raises you. It shows that you have the courage to own your part, that your relationship matters more than your pride. A woman named Helen once told me that when her mother, at 82, apologized for being overly critical during her teenage years, she felt a lifetime of tension melt away in a single afternoon. "It made me feel like she saw me," Helen said. "And it made me love her even more." Respect grows naturally when humility is present. The last phrase is one that wraps all the others together. "I love you." Yes, it's simple. Yes, you've probably said it 1,000 times. But think about this, when was the last time you said it not as a habit, but as a deliberate, intentional expression? When it's spoken sincerely, without rushing past it, "I love you" becomes an anchor. It's a reminder that, no matter what changes with time, the foundation between you and your children is unshakable. I've met parents who assume their children already know they're loved, so they stop saying it as often. But hearing those words as an adult, especially in the middle of life storms, can be like stepping into the warmth after walking in the rain. One man shared with me that after his father began ending every phone call with "I love you," even after decades of rarely saying it, their conversations became warmer and more open. It's not that the words themselves were new, it's that they were offered with intention. When we put all these phrases together, "I was wrong," "I trust your judgment," "Tell me more," "I'm proud of you," "What do you think?" "I need your help," "I understand," "I'm sorry," and "I love you," what we're really doing is creating an atmosphere where respect is mutual, not forced. Where conversations feel safe, and both sides feel valued. The truth is, respect after 60 isn't about holding onto authority, it's about embracing connection. It's about showing your children that you're not just their parent, you're a whole person, still growing, still learning, and still deeply invested in who they are. And when they see you this way, their respect doesn't just come back, it deepens. So, if you've been feeling that your children don't quite see you the way they used to, try weaving these phrases into your everyday life. Not all at once, and not mechanically, but in the moments when they truly fit. Watch how the tone of your conversations changes. Notice how their shoulders relax, how they start sharing more, how they begin looking at you with the same admiration they once had as kids, but now with the added layer of adult respect. And remember, it's never too late. Whether you're 60, 70, or 90, your words still have the power to shape your relationships. The way you speak can either build walls or open doors, and you have the wisdom, the heart, and the experience to open those doors wider than ever before. So go ahead. Call them today. Say the words you've been holding back. Let them hear the respect you have for them, and you'll find that it comes right back to you, often in ways that will surprise and warm your heart. Here's to speaking with love, living with humility, and enjoying relationships that only grow richer with time. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your insights mean a lot to us and give us the motivation to keep spreading positivity and practical advice. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Your support truly helps us continue creating meaningful content that informs, inspires, and uplifts. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.